I grew up in a small village in northern Wisconsin with about 400 people in it. There were 18 people in my graduating class from high school. My mother and dad were a very traditional family. They always worked hard to make sure that my sister and I had everything that we needed to be successful. Neither one of them had the benefits of college or an advanced education, but they made us accept the fact that we were going to go when we wanted to go, so we weren't forced to do anything, but they supported us both through that entire thing, and I know how hard they worked to make all that possible for us. So that kind of motivates me to think that, you know, if you can make a difference in somebody's life and be that positive, you should do it, you know. I think it was fortunate when I grew up that I grew up in a house with Depression-era parents, because they taught me a lot about having and not having, and not being selfish. Well, in 1992-93, the executive director who preceded Bob Canopy resigned, and the resignation was followed some rather candid discussions about the financial management of the resources of the Federation. There was some issues that saw that some money that should have gone to employees' retirement programs was instead used for operational purposes. Audit report showed some of that, and the board decided that we had to move forward to right the ship, and I think we were very successful in doing that. One of the things that we did to provide additional funds was to add a $1 surcharge to all rule books, and our membership voted to do that by about 48-2, and they did it because they knew that the Federation was necessary in its rule writing capacities for high school athletics to continue to be successful in each of the states. That saved the Federation. We hired Bob Canopy, did an excellent job of getting the organization back on the road, and we all moved forward. The money that was generated from that rulebook charge was put into a trust fund, and that was done because there was a fear of bankruptcy. We were that close to it, so that money could not be touched for anything other than the next step in programs. I was the chair of the trust. Following that, the money that was left in the trust was moved to a foundation, a more traditional way of providing monies for supplemental programs, and I was fortunate to be asked to serve on that also in the capacity of the chair of the trustee board, and remained in that position until I retired in 2009.
Well, we're so incredibly excited and proud and happy for Doug Chickering after the lifetime of service that he's given to the WIAA, our member schools, and the students that they serve, as well as the many contributions that he has made to the National Federation of High School Associations. There are few individuals whose compass is as steadily pointed in the right direction, that is always focused on school sports and the students that they serve.
The recognition that I got from the Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association and the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association mean a lot to me. I was named a Friend of Basketball and inducted into the Basketball Group's Hall of Fame in 1999, and a couple of years later was given the same honors by the Football Coaches Association, and then a few years after that the Football Coaches Association awarded me with the Dave McLean Service Award, which is given for exemplary service to sports in the state. So I feel very good about that.
I believe Doug is an individual that has a tremendous passion for high school sports, and even as a retired individual, he still is very connected to high school sports, and that has always been his passion. I think one characteristic that I have always been enviable of him is his ability to know who people are. He knows everyone by their first name, no matter if he met them a year ago or 20 years ago. He still is able to meet and greet them and call them by their first name, and that's something that in the number of people we come in contact with is just unbelievable.
This is where we proudly display the plaques of the other Wisconsin inductees into the National Federation Hall of Fame. They come here a year after the induction, and I'm looking very much to returning here in 2016 and seeing mine up there. The WIA was the first athletic association in America with its roots going back to 1896. In the 20s, the WIA was one of 5 state associations that joined what then was called the Midwest Federation of State Athletic Groups. And that since has evolved into the National Federation that we know so well today. The 3 people who succeeded me as directors here, P.F. Neverman, Cliff Fagan, and John Roberts, are all members of the Hall. So that really gives me satisfaction to join their ranks. When I got here in 1986, the table was well set for me to succeed. I feel that I did, and I think that the standing of the WIA today remains at a very high level, and I say that as a tribute to the staff members who are here, both the support staff and the administrative staff, as well as the many committees that are involved in the governance of the association, and the previous boards of control who have given an awful lot of their own time to make everything work here.
As a leader here in Wisconsin, he was instrumental in a lot of movement forward for the WIAA, getting us caught up perhaps to some other states and actually being a trendsetter in some situations.
Sportsmanship is so important in the ranks of our high schools and within our membership. I had an opportunity to address a conference sportsmanship seminar meeting during one of my last years, and I took this sign along. It was something that I feel very proud to have in my office. It was given to me by a former board member. It reads, "Sportsmanship is our #1 priority. Without sportsmanship, we really have nothing at all worth having in high school sports." And this came from a WIA Bulletin article in 1991. I passed that around the meeting that day to the kids and told them to sign in for sportsmanship by wetting their finger and putting it on the glass. And somewhere in there are the signatures of about 93 kids. This induction into the National Federation High School Hall of Fame is a career highlight. It's a milestone that is the most significant. And I don't say that to slight any of the others, because without the others I would not have perhaps been recognized with this one. But this is certainly a career goal and something that I will remember and wear with pride for the rest of my life.